You know, I'm out in Asia. I ought to be living the life of an absolute baller. Ugh. Sucks, place. Sucks. Look at this. This fridge should be stacked with champagne and should be mad bottles in here. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I was born with the taste of one, the yearning, the desire. But that's okay. Begpacking is an actual thing. It's a real actual thing that happens. People do it. It goes on. It's not make-believe. It's nothing new. It's been going on for quite a while. So it's quite lucky that Begpack is an actual thing, because you can just travel around the world and, well, you know, not working, I suppose. Here's a guide. Begpacking. How to pay for your travels by begging and busking. Everyone wants to travel around the world. Why wouldn't they? Traveling is the best way to spend your teens and early 20s before you get too old to enjoy yourself. No such thing. The problem with traveling though is that you need money to do it, no matter how cheap you are, and most of us don't have a ton of money because we either quit our job to travel or never had a job in the first place. But don't let a little thing like money stand in between you and your dream round the world trip. Need cash to travel? There's a new way to get it. Begpacking! Begpacking! What is begpacking? We've all seen those guys on subway platforms and street corners begging for food and money. Yes, the homeless and the destitute. Sometimes they are busking by selling crappy drawings or playing a cello off key. Often, they are just asking you to spare some change. Usually they are poor people or homeless people. But why can't you do it too? Aren't you technically poor? Aren't you technically homeless? Why shouldn't you cash in too? This is why this is the only thing that you... All you need to begpack is find an empty spot on the street. The busier the area, the better. Look for local beggars who know where to go and set up near them. That's a very good idea. And start asking for money. Here's the tips. 1. Play an instrument on the street. Did your mum make you take clarinet lessons as a kid? Are you carrying around a guitar to look cool anyways? We've all seen those guys playing drums on street corners or playing violins in the subway. Why not cash in on your skills and use your backpacking instruments and play music on the street for tips? Tips on how to sort your life out. 2. Make art. Can you draw halfway decent? Paint, sew, knit, glue to a cardboard? I got a friend who glued to a cardboard. Like, actual He's crazy. Consider making art and selling it on the street. Or you can offer up on-the-spot portrait or caricature drawings to passers-by. Boom! Bonus! It really helps if you can make art similar to that of local artisans. People love buying local souvenirs, and they love it even more when they can buy it from Westerners. Do they? I don't think they do. What? 3. Sell photos. Do you travel with an iPhone? Who doesn't? Suppose you're right. You probably take photos with your iPhone too. Perfect. Find a place to print out a bunch of your travel photos and sell them on the street. Who doesn't want gorgeous photos of the places they travel to? 4. Make friendship bracelets. 5. Just beg for money. I can't keep this voice up no more. You don't need to bust to make money while backpacking on your travels. All you have to do is beg. Sit on a street corner, put out an empty cap or coffee cup and start asking for money. It sometimes helps to have a cardboard sign that explains you are backpacking abroad and need money to continue traveling. Or something like, help us fulfill our dream, or world travelers need your help. Everyone loves a sob story about how desperate your situation is. Locals will feel sorry for the foreigner trapped in a strange country and offer up anything they can spare. Yes, they really do.
What are you gonna do? What is your problem? What is your problem?
Yeah,
See?
what is your
You
problem?
got big
It's
problem.
my body. I have the right to dispose of my body the way I want. If I don't want to be on your
Yeah.
camera, I'm not on
You
your
guys
camera.
are begging on the street of our country.
You're begging? This is begging for you?
Get lost.
This is not work.
Get lost, yeah?
What you
Don't
do
touch
that?
me.
Oh, what the are you
Move away.
doing?
Move away.
Why?
Yeah,
I'm in the
don't try to
street,
act
it's
funny,
public
yeah?
space.
Excuse me, who are you?
You just mind your own business. Who are you?
No, you just mind.
Do you have license to do all this?
Then just call.
Yes, I will. I have to. I need evidence, right? I'm with the hotel association. We need evidence. Right? She tried to act funny.
I'm trying to act funny. Who is making the
I'm gonna send this to the government.
Oh dear. Turns out Malaysians aren't too keen on Johnny foreigners begging it on road. Oh dear, that's just f***ed. But hey, oi! All you xenophobes out there in Asia, don't be too quick to judge, okay? Begpacking, why I refuse to judge Westerners busking to fund gap year travel. Seen mainly in Southeast Asian countries such as Thailand, Singapore and Malaysia, the practice has come under scrutiny of late, with detractors branding it lazy and disgusting on social media. Pictures have circulated online of white travellers, the worst, selling postcards and playing the guitar with signs saying, "I am travelling around Asia without money, please support my trip." And locals and commentators alike have shared their anger at the increase in Western people begging. The idea of this ludicrously pampered privileged Westerner actually begging locals for money in a country where many struggle to get by is maddening. And yet I refuse to judge so-called begpackers, or at least I refuse to judge them out of context. Ooh, look at you! In the various media slating, there's an uncomfortable assumption that every white person in Asia has independent means and a rich family back home to call upon should they run out of money. Not very unlike an Independent article. That every traveller is straight out of the Gap Year sketch. And while this is doubtless the case for many, it certainly isn't true of everyone. Ask anyone for a travelling horror story and I'll bet they'll have at least one. A friend tells me of getting mugged in Cuba and being stranded for 4 days without a penny. Naval officer Christian shares his story of arriving at the airport only to find his flight had left at 8 AM, not 8 PM, and the ensuing embarrassment of having to beg for money from passers-by to afford another flight home. Well, that's a bit of a big boo-boo, isn't it? Of course, begging in a casual way as a long-term strategy to fund your fun trip around Asia is a different story, and one I heartily disapprove of. But there's a distinction to be made, too, between begging and busking. Will Hatton, founder of the Broke Backpacker blog, shares these sentiments. Whilst it is not okay to beg whilst travelling, there really is nothing wrong or new with busking or selling handmade jewellery on the side of the road, he told me. In London, someone busking in the underground is not viewed as a beggar, but a performer, whether they are homegrown or simply travelling through. It adds a richness and a vibrancy to the city, and no one would disparage a passerby for relinquishing a few coins for the pleasure of hearing someone play. Yet the idea of someone doing the same in Thailand is somehow abhorrent. It just doesn't add up. For some, things go awry with travelling and they have little choice but to throw themselves on the kindness of strangers. For others, being an entertainer and playing their way around the world is arguably a legitimate livelihood. And if someone has a rare talent for creating exquisite handmade jewellery out of shells, who are we to deny their entrepreneurial nous? Yeah, haters, have some of that! Yeah, he told them. He told them. Oh dear. Thailand and other developing nations just don't have the same safety nets that we have. You know, like benefit systems. If you're poor, disabled, single mother, you've only got yourself to rely on and the kindness of others. Basically, you're So, you know, maybe that's something to consider when you're a guest in someone else's country and you haven't budgeted correctly. But that's enough of my preaching and virtue signaling for one day. And then again, I was born for the champagne lifestyle, and I'm gonna get it. Actually, it is mad hot out there. I don't really want to sit around in the scorching heat, you know, playing a clarinet. I'll probably just like set up a GoFundMe and pretend I got cancer or something. You know, that's way better. I got internet connection. It's fine. Do that later. Anyway, that's the world of Begpacking.